Hello, sports fans. Welcome to God Next Gaming and some Madden 17 coverage here with our rebuild of the 49ers. So we are into the 2022 offseason here. We're getting ready for the draft. We're going to take a quick look at our free agents here. We're doing a rebuild in a completely different way here with this. We're actually trying to do it through the draft and free agency rather than going like most people do. I watched a video the other day and I was kind of surprised. They go and they just make these unrealistic trades to make the team like super awesome in like one single year. And it's like crazy. A true rebuild takes time. And that's what we do here. Try to keep it interesting as possible for you guys. I mean, let me know what you think. Let me, tell me what you think, what kind of moves we should make here to make it work for this team. So we are into the draft now, 2022 draft. We have our first pick, which is number 14 overall. And we need help in a lot of different areas. We did sign Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. He's old, but he's like an 89, so he's going to fit in very nicely for us. We wanted to try to draft a quarterback here if we could to serve our purposes for the future going forward. And there's a couple of options here. We take a look at Chase Kramer. He is looking very good. He has a combine report grade of 4.9, but we're going to draft him anyway. They're going to call it a good pick. He's ranked number 20, and we draft him at number 14, so not terrible. He has some pretty good attributes, and that development is a superstar, which you want. So we'll get lots of XP that we can then put back into him to develop him pretty fast. And he's a 7-8 overall to start things off. Not a bad pick there at all for number 1. He will sit on the bench, have a little bit of a red shirt year, and come back the next year to take over for Aaron Rodgers when we expect him to retire after the season. If he does not, then he gets 2 years to develop, which is fine by us. So now we have pick number 2 here. At number 14 in the second round, we need some help with cornerbacks. We have a very weak secondary. Strong safety, free safety, pretty good. We're building those up, but we definitely need some cornerbacks as they're getting older, and we need to get younger at that position. So we're going to pick up Deshaun Birch here. He says we reached. He's a number 64, and we drafted him at 46. It was really tough finding cornerbacks. I tried going through all of the scouting, and I put a lot of scouting into cornerbacks, and this guy was one of the better ones that were out there, believe it or not. We're just going to try to see if we can develop him into something here going forward. So at pick number 3 now, in the third round, what are we going to do here? I mean, there's not a lot to choose from. We could use a tight end. We didn't sign one there, so maybe Ethan Straczynski is a good pick, and he is. He's ranked number 18 in true talent, and we've drafted him at 78, and he looks like a stud. 76 overall, third round pick, not bad. He has slow development, but that's okay. He's a tight end, so not really worried about that. At 76 overall, we could probably develop him nice and slowly. Still looking at cornerbacks. We need a lot of help there. This guy has a combine report grade of 7.1, which is really high, and I think we should take a flyer on him and give it a chance, and we do, and it's a good pick. He's number 118, and we drafted him at number 110, so again, a good pick. Has some decent speed there. Acceleration, zone coverage is an 81. He's run support, which is fine. We can build around that. We picked 2 run support cornerbacks. Now, with our next pick here, we're going to look to make a move in number 5, and we're going to try to pick up some picks for ourselves here. And we like some of the things we're seeing here. I mean, they're going to be picks that are a couple of years down the road or even next season. They're third-round picks for a 5th round. I mean, I'm willing to give up a pick this season to pick up a third-round pick in 2 years or so, which is fine. So we take that one there. It's a third-round pick in the 2024 draft, which is 2 seasons away, but it gives us a nice little cushion there in case we make some mistakes here or things aren't working out the way we want to. We'll have those extra draft picks to either trade away for players or to actually draft somebody that can work for the team. So now we'll get the draft recap here. We'll take a quick look at maybe an in-depth look at what we did here in the draft. So Kramer, the quarterback, 78. Birch, 72, a cornerback. And then Straczynski, the tight end, 76. Looking at Binns, he's a 68. In the 6th round, we kind of let them auto-pick for us with simulators. He's a 68 for a right guard. And then Griggs, a 66 as a wide receiver. You never really expect to pick up much in the 6th and 7th rounds. That's why I simulate it, because I'm never going to find what they can find. Griggs doesn't look like a bad pickup at 92 speed. He could probably be a kick returner for us at some point. He'll probably serve on the practice squad right now, which is fine. So let's take a look at our roster here as it's starting to stack out now for us. We have Aaron Rodgers plugged in there, and we have our wide receivers. John Gillies is an 87, and then we have Finney as an 81. Looking okay as far as that goes. The defense is looking pretty decent again. We definitely have some work to do here with cornerbacks, as we have some older cornerbacks in Chris Harris and Jason Verrett, but we're looking to try to draft some guys, and then maybe we can even make some moves later on when it comes down to it. So now we have to get ready to do our season goal here as we get finished with the preseason, and we already have an injury to our star receiver, Gillies. He's out for 28 weeks. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? We got to try to look to see if we can find somebody here in free agency, as now we're in trouble as far as wide receivers go. We looked around, nothing in free agency, nothing in the trade block that we want to kind of pick up or take a chance on. 75 overalls are just not going to do it. But we're going to go in here, we're going to set our goal, big decision, set the season goal. We're going to say we're going to do 10 wins. We think we have a good enough team, even with losing our top wide receiver. I think I have a good enough team here to get at least 10 wins and try to squeak our way into the playoffs if we possibly can. So, again, one more look here. We'll take a look. So it's Aaron Rodgers. Now, we're going to put D'Anthony Thomas, who had 9 touchdowns for us last season. He's at 71. We're going to put him up there as a number 2 wide receiver and put Machado into the slot and see how that pans out for us. We also have, again, Finney out there. He'll be our number 1 wide receiver right now. We have Berlin, the tight end. He could be a good safety valve for us as far as this offense goes. And that offensive line is starting to get stronger now as it is younger and starting to build up. Taking a look at the defense, we have Reed and Heron as our safeties. We have Metcalf, Gooden, and Fountain as our linebackers. And down on the defensive line, it is looking pretty solid there with Lynch and Armstead, as always, getting those edges for us, looking pretty strong there. So now we get ready to start the season, and I'm going to try a little something different here. Instead of simming to mid-season, I'm going to go sim 1 week at a time right now, only because of that, wide receiver being out. Our top star player is gone, probably one of the best players on the roster, if not the best player on the roster. And we actually come away with a win here, and then we have a player who's going to regress, and it's D'Anthony Thomas, major injury. He falls back a little bit, and that's fine. We're going to go ahead and sim again as we're happy with the win, and we're going to sim again 1 week at a time here for now to see how this works out for us. So we're going to sim again and see what happens. And now we go 2-0 and looking pretty decent here so far. So, yeah, lost our best wide receiver, and we're still looking pretty decent. And, of course, we have some free agency stuff that we have to do. These players are looking to re-sign early and get their extensions before things happen. R.J. Horton is one of those guys we just want to kind of lock in. We don't want to mess around with this. We're going to make him a nice, solid offer. Kind of hit him a little bit to see if it works, but he says the contract length works, and that's it. We're not going to go too crazy with that. We're going to make some offers that are going to work for him down the road. I promise you that. So let's go ahead and sim again and see what we get out of week 3 here. Going into week 3, we get the win again against a decent team there. And we're going to go ahead and see what we have now. There is an injury. And there goes Blake Berlin. 27 weeks. He's out injured with a fractured kneecap. There goes our best tight end. That hurts, folks. I mean, 2 of the top players on the offense there. We thought we could make it work with the tight end as our safety valve, and now what we're going to have to do, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to make some moves here to see what works. I mean, we just lost 2 of our best offensive players. That's terrible. I mean, all we have to do now is lose R.J. Horton. God forbid. I don't know what we would do if that happens. I mean, that's just absolutely insane that they're gone for the entire season, these guys. We're going to have to go ahead and make moves. We're going to place Jean Gillies on the injured reserve list and Blake Berlin on the injured reserve list as well. I mean, they're just gone for the season. There's nothing we can do. We need to see if we can make some moves or sign some players. We find a tight end here in Michael Bollinger. He's a 74. Not bad. We'll take him. He's a free agent. We'll put him in there. He kind of works out better overall than Straczynski, and it gives us an option to stick in at fullback, being that we don't have a real fullback on the team anyway. So we'll make that work for us in our favor. Straczynski is now a 76 overall, and that works out pretty good for us as far as I'm concerned. So let's go ahead and advance. We're going to get ahead 1 more week. I'm starting to get a little scared with these injuries. Not sure what's going on here. So going in, we win the game again against Seattle this time. So 4-0 now. And I honestly did not expect much from the 49ers before the season began, but they're surprisingly off to a 4-0 start. We love it. Here's Aaron Armstead now in looking for his extension, and we're going to go make the move, and he likes it, and he's going to re-sign. Here's Julius Heron, our strong safety that we converted from cornerback, who's an 80 overall, and we're going to go ahead and re-sign him as well. And we're going to take a look at the standings quickly. We're 4-0 right there. And let's go take a look at some stats, too. So Aaron Rodgers with 1,091 yards and 9 touchdowns, 92.5 passer rating, 327 yards rushing by R.J. Horton after 4 games, 3rd in the NFL. And we see Rashad Finney has 286 yards on 22 catches with 3 touchdowns. So those are the stats so far as we can see them. Offense and defense are looking pretty good. So it's going to be one of those things that we're going to have to keep an eye on. And again, we're going to go ahead and sim these one at a time to see what it brings us when we do these moves. And now we're 5-0. Unbelievable. I did not expect this at all, folks. It looks like we're off to a solid start here with this team. So let's go ahead and make another offer for RJ Horton, see if we can't lock him in. We're going to go a little bit higher than what he was asking for in the first place, see if he'll sign in. And he likes it. He absolutely loves it. He's excited to play for the season's coming, and that's a great move on our part. It was a move we really needed to make. So let's go into week 7 and see what we come up with. And we got another win. We are off to 6-0 start. We are still undefeated and getting ready to go to the Giants. But wait, there's another injury. Who can this possibly be now? And it's Grubbs, the starting center. 6 weeks he's out. That's going to be tough on us, man. I mean, we're going into week 13 now without our starting center, so we've got to make some moves here. We can't leave Freeman in there, who's a 68 overall. We're going to make some moves. We're going to put the Castro in as the starting center, and we're going to move McGarrigle, whatever his name is, a 70 overall, into the right guard spot and see what happens. Taking a look at some stats here. See, RJ Horton was almost 500 yards. Finney with 31 catches and 413 yards. Looking pretty solid there. Anthony Thomas not doing exactly what I expected him to do there. 27 catches, no touchdowns yet. I expected a little bit more out of him for sure. So now we're going to go ahead and play the Giants here. They're 3-2. We're going to move ahead. We're going to go into a bye week as we play them and see what happens here. And I'm not seeing what's going on yet. I don't see the results of the game. We're going to have to take a look here. And we see the standings, and we lose to the Giants 24-3. So we take our first loss of the season against a 3-2 Giants team. That's our old team, and they kind of just pummeled us here. As we take a look, there was no answer at all for our 3 points in the first quarter. They just went ahead and beat us in every aspect of the game here. Crocker, who we drafted when we were back with the Giants, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns. Davis, another one of our guys, 24 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. So the Giants take us for our first loss, and that's fine. We're going to get a move ahead now to week 9 to see who we're going to be playing against. And we're going to go against a Ravens team that's 5-2. They're looking pretty solid as well, and we're going to see what that means for this team. We're just going to go ahead and advance here into week 10 and hopefully come away with a win, and we do. Yes, 7-1, but we have another injury. What is going on here? This is unbelievable. I cannot believe another injury. I'm almost afraid to look, and it turns out to be Metcalf, 76 overall. He's gone for 7 weeks, and he is like our second best linebacker. I don't understand what we're going to do. But anyway, D'Anthony Thomas is starting to come around. He's now leading the team with 36 catches, tied with Finney for 36, with no touchdowns still. And Finney leads with 4 touchdowns there. We're taking a quick look at stats. You guys can kind of pause and go back and take a quick look at those if you want to. I was going to kind of splatter those in there once in a while to see what we get. So now we're going to go into week 11 here as we're playing this game, and we're going to take our second loss. We're going to go to 7-2, and there's another injury, and another player's regressed. And this time it is right end Margarito Spate. At least it's not somebody who's a starter for 5 weeks. I can kind of deal with that and handle that. But this is starting to get out of hand, folks, with all of these injuries. Unbelievable. I'm going to go fire the trainer, I think. We're going to go into week 11 now as we're playing against the Cardinals. And we win against the Cardinals, but there's 2 new injuries again. 2 more injuries. I am almost absolutely for certain afraid to look. We lose Dielman, our starting defensive tackle, and Heron, our starting strong safety, for 6 weeks and 4 weeks respectively. What are we going to do? I mean, this is absolutely insane. I am completely at this point. I was distraught and blown away. I have to make some moves. We've got to fix this quick. So we got to make moves here to figure this out. We're going to have to get Tart out of there. He's a 71 overall. That's just not going to work for us. I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and pull Karimi, who's our free safety. He's been developing behind Reed for a couple of years now. He's a 76, and he'll be a 76 as a strong safety as well. That's definitely an upgrade over Tart for a strong safety, and that'll give us an opportunity to take a look at Karimi, see how he's going to pan out moving forward for us, as he's going to have to replace Reed at some point anyway. So now we're going to go back in and try to negotiate, make some moves. We want to pick up DJ Hargrove. We want to re-sign him and keep him going as well, as he's been a pretty good linebacker for us too. Good depth for the team, and he likes the offer, and he's going to sign with us again. So now we're going to keep going on here. We have the number 1 ranked defense. If you take a look at the news down there in the bottom left-hand corner, going into week 12, we come away with another win. We're 9-2 now, and no injuries this week, so that's a pretty good sign. Liking the way that looks. Let's go take a quick look at some stats. 26 yards for Aaron Rodgers, 23 touchdowns, 855 yards rushing, only 3 rushing touchdowns. We can live with that. 53 catches, 673 yards. Expecting a little bit better out of our receiving core, but, being the fact that he's not a superstar stud like, Josh Gillies was, we'll take what we get out of that. And there's D'Anthony Thomas, who's finally got a couple touchdowns and 46 catches. I believe we moved him back into the slot spot, and that's why he's doing much better. We put him back into the slot, and he's looking a lot better there. So we do pick up some players back. We get our starting center back, and we're getting some of these injuries off the books, which is looking pretty good. And we're going to be picking up a few more of them off the books pretty soon, too. So now we're going to go against a 4-7 Rams team in our division. Let's see if we can take them down, as we are now 9-2, hoping we can come away with a win here. And we do. We go to 10-2, folks. Looking really good now, as we finally get the 10 wins that we need as part of our promise for the season. That is looking fantastic. We're 10-2. We have like a 4-game lead over the Cardinals there, who are 6-6, looking pretty good here in the division. But it's not over yet, so we're gonna have to continue on forward and see what we get. We're going against the 4-8 Browns team here, and we're gonna go ahead and sim there into Week 14, kind of like this 1 week at a time thing. And we're going to take our 3rd loss against a team with a losing record. That is not what we expected there at all. Bruce Spock here got 341 yards against our defense. Number 1 ranked defense in the league, and he puts up 341 yards like it's a joke. Unbelievable. Did not expect that at all. I had to take a quick look to see what happened there in that game. So now we're going to go against a 9-4 Redskins team. Let's see if we can take them down. Hopefully we do, and we do not. We get our 4th loss. That's 2 losses in a row now, and the wheels look like they're starting to come off here a little bit. Little concerned. 3,300 yards for Aaron Rodgers with 28 touchdowns. He's got the yardage there. 1,000 rushing yards for R.J. Horton. Still only 3 rushing touchdowns. But now almost 1,000 yards for Finney with 8 touchdowns. Looking a little bit better there, and 74 receptions. Let's go ahead and move forward again here. We're going to go ahead and sim that 1 week. Going into Week 17 now. And we are going to get another loss and 2 more injuries. Unbelievable. We're 10-5 now. The wheels are definitely falling off. And this time we lose R.J. Horton. But not only that, we lose Isaiah Crowell, his backup. We lose our starting running back and our backup running back as well. Both for 5 weeks. That'll take them out for the rest of the year into the playoffs and beyond. Even if we can make it to the Super Bowl, there's no way these 2 guys are coming back at all. So we're going to have to take a look around and see what we can do. We get Jimmy Metcalf back. We're taking a look at our running backs now, and it's looking pretty grim as we take a look at running backs. We're going to make some moves here to see if we can sign somebody or maybe get somebody from the practice squad that can kind of help this a little bit. Margarito Spikes is on the practice squad. He's a 66 overall. He's a 90 speed and 87 acceleration. We're going to move him up to the full roster and get him in there. We're going to place Isaiah Crowell onto the IR. If there's any chance of R.J. Horton coming back at all early, we'll kind of keep him up there and not put him on IR just yet. We have D'Anthony Thomas looking for a re-sign as well, an extension, and we're going to head and make him an offer. Nothing super crazy, but he likes the offer and he's going to stick around with us. We like him anyway, even though he's starting to diminish in skills and getting a little bit older. We like him. But now we have a 10-5 record here. We have not won the division yet. We're on a 3-game losing streak, and the Cardinals are suddenly 9-6. And we have to go into this game here against the Cowboys, who are 9-6 as well. We've got to come away with a win here, folks. This is going to be super important for us. Can we do it? And no, we lose again. It'll be our 4th loss in a row and completely disheartening. But let's go take a look at stats for the season. 3,900 yards, 32 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 1,100 yards for R.J. Horton, and then not much else beyond that. But Isaiah Crowell had 8 touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns, looking pretty good. Finney with 83 catches for 1,042 yards and 8 touchdowns, 78, 806, 5, and 66, 738, and 2. Berlin had 15 catches for 149 and 3 touchdowns, even though he got hurt right away in the season. That's why we wanted him in there, and it kind of hurts that he was out. Again, Rayshon Gooden is our top tackler and linebacker. Reed with 82 tackles. Gilmore stepping up there and doing pretty good, as well as Chris Harris and Jason Verrett looking pretty good. Again, 9 sacks and 11.5 out of Armstead and Lynch, respectively. Jimmy Metcalf, even though he was hurt, up there with 62 tackles. Fountain is a disappointment as far as I'm concerned as a second-year player with only 40 tackles on the team. He's got to do better. He had 3 sacks, but we definitely need more out of him from that linebacker position if we're going to keep him on the team, or maybe we decide to make a move. Is he just not fitting into our scheme? Is that what the problem is? I'm not really sure, but we're going to definitely have to address that going into the offseason when it happens. So now we're going into the wild card playoff week, and we lose to the Dallas Cowboys in our first opportunity here in the playoffs, and they just kind of spank us there, 35-27, 396 yards, 249 yards passing. I will give you this much, guys. Jeffrey Bryan, their quarterback, is like the MVP of the league. So, yeah, we lost to a guy who's the MVP, and, I mean, it's not so disheartening when you think about it. But we'll take a look around at some of the stats here. You guys can take a look at this and figure out what you see here. Pause it if you want to check them out. Our top receiver was Straczynski there, 7 catches for 44 yards. Finney had 6 catches for 77. So, I mean, yeah, disheartening there. We did get into the playoffs this time around with a 10-6. The wheels fell off at the end of the season with all those injuries. It's just one of those things. I mean, what did we expect to get out of that? Really, I wasn't expecting much after all those injuries. I mean, not to make an excuse, but that kind of makes it really tough on you. You lose your top receiver, you lose your top running back, your second running back, and you got to try to make it all work for you there. But that's going to do it for this one here. They're going to extend our contract for 3 more years, and we'll take that. We'll continue to try to rebuild this team into a Super Bowl winner, or at least a contender if we can. Thanks for stopping by. Leave your comments below. Leave a like for the video. I will see you around the channel, and goodbye now.